Good morning, Mary Jo Broussard here at my favorite place, the Mobile Botanical Gardens. Welcome, I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. I am, because guess what, I'm here in nature. And today I've been asked to talk about shade-loving plants. And golly, if y'all know me, my entire garden in Saraland is shady, so I have become an expert at shade garden. One of the things that really gets to me is when I do my consultation with my clients, they have shady yards and they're going, oh, it's shady, you can't do anything, it's so uninteresting. That is so not the truth, because I've never had anybody come to my property and say, it's not interesting. They usually go, wow, because I have adjusted and adapted and made my shade a positive thing, not a negative thing. And let's face it, guys, in July, do you really want to be out in the sun? No, you want to be in the shade. Something to drink, a hammock, whatever. My cat's rolling around with me. So we're going to talk today about shade plants. And I have an assortment here. And we're going to start off first by ferns. Ferns are some absolutely wonderful plants that have been around since the dinosaurs, probably before the dinosaurs. And we're going to talk today a little bit about some of my favorite plants, some good ones and some ones that you maybe want to watch out for a little bit. But the first one I'm going to show you is this pitiful looking thing. And you can tell it's prettier on this side and not quite so pretty on that side. The problem was it was jammed up somewhere and it didn't get enough water. It didn't get enough light. Now when I say shade, I'm not talking about under a giant magnolia tree, because let's face it, God didn't intend anything to grow under those. But if you have dappled light, I have big oak trees, I have pine trees, I have an assortment of all kinds of trees. So therefore, they will work and you can do it. But when you get something like this, you need to make sure that it has enough room around it to get the proper sunlight, because it does need light, not necessarily direct sunlight, but it does need light. So this is a sad little thing, but here's one that's much happier so that you can see, and these are autumn ferns. And autumn ferns are named autumn ferns because the new growth is this sort of maroon, bronzy color. So that starts out that way and then it turns to these green ones. And I love ferns because look at the seed pods on the back. Isn't that interesting? So all of these, when they decide to dry up, then all of these little seeds fly out and land on the ground around you. Now here's another one that is one of my favorites, and this is a staple in my garden, and this is a sad little one too right now. This is a holly fern, and it's called a holly fern because the leaves actually look like hollies. And look at on the back of that. Is that not just interesting? Now these can get to be about 2.5 to 3 feet tall and about 4 feet across, given 30 years like they have at my house. Very, very good. Now one of the things I want to talk about, I passed by one of the box stores yesterday and it was jam-packed full. And people had all of this real pretty stuff, real pretty blooms going out the door. The problem with that is in 3 months, you're gonna have nothing. These plants that I'm talking about today, virtually every single one of them, and I'll tell you which ones are not, are perennial plants. So when you buy this, you are investing in something that's gonna be there for 30 years. I've lived at my house 30 years. I've had some of these plants 30 years because there was nothing there when I got there. So an investment, something that will be there, something that will continue to grow. And honest to goodness, most of these plants don't require extra watering once they're established. They're just good to go. Here's another one that I absolutely love. I'm gonna try to pick it up because it's very heavy. Oh, it's real watery. And this is an Arborvitae fern. And Arborvitaes are tree-like. So this one is very pretty. The new growth is this lighter shade of green, darker growth. Again, they're evergreen. The back sides are just as pretty as the front sides are. They're not as strong or as tough leaves as this. This is much softer. So it gives a totally different look when you're out in the garden. But again, these can get to be about 2.5 feet tall and about 3 feet across. If we have a real hard winter, these will die back. They're deciduous, but they will come back. It's not like once you lose it, it's gone. It'll come back the next springtime. Another one that I absolutely love is this one. This is the Indian holly fern. And as you can see, it has the yellowish chartreuse stripe down the middle. And look at the seed fronds on the back of that. Is that not just absolutely gorgeous? These are not going to get as thick as these are. They'll get probably 2.5 feet tall. Again, they're perennial. They're going to be there forever. They get about 2.5 feet tall, like I said, and maybe 2 feet across. They're a little bit slower. They're not as thick or as dense, but they are gorgeous. Now here's another one of mine that I absolutely love. And let's get that little dead part off. And this is the royal fern. Now this fern is very different from the others. This one can actually sit in water or at the edge of a pond. And this little black part that you see right here will get to be probably a foot tall out of the ground. It stays black, and they make an absolutely beautiful statement. These get much taller. They can get 4 feet tall. Again, they like a little bit, they can be in the water or on the side of a stream or on a bank, or if you have a pond at your house. Very light, very frilly. This is a native fern that you will find in the woods along stream sides. Gorgeous. It will die back in the wintertime, but you'll be left with these. It's amazing. They're this tall, black little tree-like stands. And then in the springtime, these come back out again. Very soft, very ethereal looking. All right, now this little baby is another one of our natives. And no, I'm sorry, this is not. This is Red Beauty. It's an kind of the ghost fern, so it's got this sort of bronzy ghost gray coloration to it. This one, again, is a perennial. It will probably 1.5 feet tall and spread out a little bit. These are not invasive, but they can be a little bit more enthusiastic than some of the other ones. Okay, then we're going to move on to this one right here. And this one is the ghost, the actual ghost fern. So you can see it's a little bit, the stripe down the center is burgundy, and the new growth is this gray color. And they're really, really pretty. Again, they are perennials. All of these are going to be perennials. In fact, virtually everything here is perennials. So when you buy them, and I suggest that you do, make sure that you read the label and you know how big it's going to get, because this holly fern will get to be a stand this big given enough time. And once you plant it, you just need to leave it where it is, because if you put it in the right spot, it'll stay there. Now we're going to talk about, again, people are always saying, well, there's no blooms in the shade. That is so wrong, trust me. Who does not love a hydrangea? And we have lots and lots of different kinds here. We have some that get to be 5-6 feet tall. We have some that stay 2 feet tall. Some that actually have red stems on it. We even have one over there that has chartreuse, yellowy leaves to it, which is a real pop. I've got those in my garden. A real pop when you see them, because they draw your eye from a distance. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they bloom just like regular hydrangeas do. One of my other, I know I'm saying I have a lot of favorites, and I do. You can't garden in one spot for as long as I have without. This is a Cephalotaxus prostrata. New growth is just as soft and beautiful. It looks like it's pokey. It's not pokey at all. I planted one of these maybe 15 years ago. You need to make sure when you plant this that you know what you're doing, because mine is now 8 feet across, 7 feet deep, and no taller than 2.5 feet. So it just keeps going out. You can pick up a limb from here and the pot is way over there. So gorgeous, a wonderful investment with your money. They will be there forever, and they will just be absolutely gorgeous. Okay, we had talked about perennials, and we're going to stop for just a second and go to some things that are not perennials. Not perennials outside. We're talking about begonias. And oh, my heart just beats harder and faster when I talk about begonias, because I love them. Who could not? I mean, look at the back side of that leaf. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. And look at the front. They are just beautiful. They all bloom. Now, I have mine in decorative pots. And so in the wintertime, I have a, well, it used to be a covered dog kennel, is now my greenhouse. And so I just pull these into the greenhouse. If it gets really too cool, then I put some lights on out there. But these are gorgeous. They come in a, look how small. Now, this is a cane one, so it can get about 3 feet tall. Gorgeous, gorgeous coloration. Look at this one. Again, the back side of this leaf is every bit as pretty as the front side. These will get maybe about 3 feet across. They like to be moist, but not waterlogged. So good drainage is always necessary. Look at this one. Y'all have all seen these at the box stores. They have pink flowers, some of them have red flowers. The veining on the back is absolutely gorgeous. Again, you're going to want to take these in the wintertime. These are called dragon wings because they look like, I don't know, I've never seen a dragon, but I'm assuming angel wings would work as well too. But dragon wings is what they call them. And here's another one, and this one actually has the flowers on them. They are tough, they're kind of thick. Look at the new growth. That leaf is just as chartreuse and as beautiful as it can be. Now we're going to move on to some variegated plants and some grasses. Both of these are coarse grasses. This one is called, let's see, Sweet Flag variegalis, I guess. I don't have my glasses on, so I'm guessing at that. But again, it can take some sunlight, but it's not going, anything with variegation like this or the chartreuse color is not going to want full sun. They just don't have it in their genetic makeup to take the full sun. Something that is solid green is going to be better adapted to that. In pots, and I will show you in a few minutes what I mean, in pots, in addition to another plant, really makes it beautiful. And these are some of my favorite. These are Everillo, in a navy blue or a turquoise pot, minus sunlight. These are like shining a spotlight on something. Absolutely gorgeous. These will, in fact, die back in the wintertime, but come back. Now, this last winter, mine never died, never got burned at all in Saraland. But if they do, understand they will come back. That's not a problem. Okay, another really beautiful plant that I love. Look at that bloom on that. This is a Justicia, carnea, and they come in white and they come in pink. And this just opens up. It's just so cute. Get a close-up of that bloom. Look at that. They just pop right out, and then they will eventually open up, and hummingbirds absolutely love this. It's not red. They don't care. It's the tubular shape that they're after. But again, I've got a patch about this big that I've probably had 10, 12, 15 years. Die back in the wintertime, come back every single year. And of course, who doesn't love Ajuga? This is one of my favorite little plants. It comes in little tiny leaves, it comes in bigger leaves. Beautiful, beautiful, no work at all. All you do is you leave it alone, and it's a ground cover, so it will cover your ground in no time at all. One of the things that I did right, and I didn't do a lot right, I wasn't a master gardener then, when I purchased my home, was I put camellias all along the outside edge of my property. The Camellia japonicas kind of just are now a privacy fence there. They will bloom starting in, depending on what variety you have, starting in early winter, late fall, early winter, bloom all the way. I went out this morning and looked, and I had a few blooms left on my beautiful camellias. Most of them are not fragrant, but who cares? Again, privacy screen all the way around. I've got some that are 25 feet tall right now. So it's a permanent addition. They cost a little bit more than, you know, what you're going to get for a 3-month display at the box stores, but a permanent addition there. I love odd, unusual things. So I love things with spots and dots and different colors. And here are 3 that I really, really enjoy. I went out this morning in a pot at my house. I have, this is the, well, now I'm just having a senior moment. White giant calla lily. My calla lily is probably 8 inches across and about 10 inches tall. I mean, it is in your face. Literally, it's in my face because it's up and it's right here. But I've got the ones that have the dots on the leaves and ones that are the same green leaf all the way through. They both make these gorgeous flowers. And believe it or not, even after the storms we've had, especially the one on Wednesday, we're in Saraland, I got some really strong winds. It's still standing upright, just as beautiful as it can be. And talk about a beacon. Looking from a distance, it is as white as snow-driven snow. Freshly driven snow, I guess. Not that I would know what that is much. Another one that I absolutely love, I've never met an Aspidistra that I didn't love. And this one is called, which one? I have all of them, but this one is called Spectacular with a K. In flower arrangements, cut one of these and put it in your flower arrangements. There are times when I've just brought a few of them in and put it in a tall vase all by itself without flowers. Again, they are a staple of the garden. They will be there forever. You don't have to worry about them. Once they get established, you just leave them alone. Again, spend your money wisely. Now this cute little thing, believe it or not, is a Manihot, or Manihot, I'm not real sure how to pronounce it. The green of this is actually what they make tapioca out of, believe it or not. That's so strange. I don't know what part, I don't know how, I just know that's a fact. This one has the pretty salmon colored new stems, and the leaves stay this color. Now again, it's going to get to be a smaller tree, so you'll want to make sure that you place it. It doesn't get huge. It's not, you know, an oak tree by any stretch of the imagination. But look at how that just pops when you put it amongst everything else. And that's one of the things with a garden, with a shade garden. You want something that you're going to be able to see from a distance so that it's a beacon for you to come to that location. And we have plenty of these plants here. Now we're getting to something that I learned years ago. I always love hostas. Love the variety of hostas, love the colorations. It and begonias, I probably have more of those things than I have anything else. Although I probably have 37 or 38 camellias and probably that many Japanese maples, which we'll talk about in a second. Hostas. You cannot very well grow them in the ground here, directly in the ground, because we have so many things that eat them. Slugs, snails, roly-polies, everything will eat them. So I learned years ago the trick. Put them in a pot. I put them in pots, I put them in glazed pots. It was wonderful, but the creature still crawled up. So I invented something. Well, it wasn't really an invention, I just thought of it. Here's what I do, and Jenny can post this. I get a 6x6 post, whatever height. I have them at several different heights in my yard. Put them in cement. I take, and all this is pressure treated wood, by the way, and I don't paint them, I don't coat them, they just age to beautiful gray. Then I take a piece of wood that is 2 inches thick, 8 inches across, and I cut it at 12 inches, and you just screw it down in the middle of that post. Again, it's pressure treated. Then I get a beautiful colored glazed pot, whatever color. Mine happened to be that real pretty cobalt blue. In that pot, I put usually an amaryllis, I put a hosta, and I also put something to drape over the side. I've actually used some of these Acorus plants. Now, in the wintertime, you're going to see nothing but the glazed pot. But come late winter, your amaryllis is going to start coming up, your hosta will come out, and then your Acorus will come back out again. So this gives you something different heights, because a lot of people just garden on the ground, garden up to. Now, the reason this works for a hosta is because here we get too hot. So in having the hostas up, they get enough cold that their root system actually is happy. No bugs get to it, nothing happens. I don't water it in the wintertime. In fact, for the most part, I don't water most of these things anyhow, because, you know, we get a lot of rain here. Let's face it. So Jenny can post that. But we have some wonderful hostas here, and they really readily grow and develop into a much larger plant. And look at the variety of this one. Let's see what it is. This one is actually Fran C, which is a really good variety. I've had this one for years and years. It's this paler gray, kind of a limey gray. And then you have the chartreuse on the outside. This one will get to be in a pot. You kind of restrict it in a pot. It's not going to get quite as big as maybe as you have them in the ground. But again, let's go back. Let's refresh. They don't do well in the ground here, at least not at my house. So put these in a pot. This is a gorgeous color there. Oh, look at this one. Speaking of chartreuse, you know how I love chartreuse. This one is called a guacamole. Guacamole gets much taller. The leaves are much broader. It has more of the chartreuse in the middle, a little less green around the outside. But these things can get to be 18 inches tall and 2 feet across. I've got some bigger pots at the house, and that's where I put these. Now this one is a solid green, but look at the creases in this one. And this one is called fried green tomatoes. So you can have some fried green tomatoes very close to your guacamole. And Francie, you can invite her to come watch your plants grow. And just think about this in a green or a turquoise or a cobalt blue pot. Oh, gorgeous. And here's another sweet, sweet little one. This one is called wide brim. And it's got the more white or cream color on the outside versus the other ones. And this one is a standard. It has, and you can see how thick and how full this is. This one I have had for many, many years, and I've had to actually divide this one several times. So they get absolutely gorgeous. They will work in your pots. And again, try to make sure that you get, when you purchase something, let's purchase something that's going to last. I talked about Japanese maples. I did not bring any up here because I kind of ran out of room. Japanese maples, golly, I have 20 something. They can be small, round shrubs. They can be tall trees. They are absolutely beautiful, and they do exceedingly well here. The growth is, again, depending on which variety you get. I have Siriu, which gets to be a very tall tree. It's probably 15, 18 feet tall. Very fine, fine leaves. When I'm sitting on my patio looking up, it is just like the heavens have opened up. These green, beautiful little leaves that are above my head. Absolutely beautiful. We've got some here that the larger leaf ones. We have some red ones. We have some green ones. Again, they're a little bit more expensive. People have said, well, it's a tree. You're going to have it forever. And they do it very well here. So whatever you need, we have it here. I mean, if you look around, there's something for everybody. Yeah, if you have to go to the box store, go to the box store, buy your little, bright little plants. But then make sure that you contact the botanical gardens. Very easy to do. You go online. There's a list of all the plants that they have, common names and botanical names. Look them up, decide which ones you want. Get a time. Make sure you put your time down. Get a time to pick things up. Add everything to your cart. You pay for it with your credit card. And let me tell you, I've done this every single week since they've been doing this. Sometimes twice a week, I have to say, for my clients or for myself. You drive up. You don't get out of your car. They have your name. You lift your hatch, do whatever you have to do in your vehicle. Somebody loads it for you. You drive off. It's a done deal. Then you go back home to your own garden and plant what you have. But support the botanical gardens. It is a wonderful place. It's well worth your money. You can get things here that you can't get other places, I promise you. I've helped order some of these things. Support your local business. And guys, stay safe. But we're really blessed if we have a garden that we can go out to our gardens and be safe, be blessed, take care of yourselves, and support the botanical gardens. They need your money. We need your money. We need your business. Y'all take care. Oh, and they also have lunches on Wednesdays and Fridays. Order lunches. Georgia Russo is the caterer, and wonderful. Take care, guys. We'll see you soon.